Have you or your friend been financially excluded by the university that you are at? Then take out your notebook because this video is for you. Welcome back to 4TV gang. It's a beautiful Saturday and you're chilling with me, your host Lulu Blue. Today we're doing things a little bit different. So if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video. And if you're coming back for the if you're just like a regular on the channel, then let's get to the day. We're going to talk about hardship funding, which is a funding system under the SRC at the University of Witwatersrand that I'm actually part of. So I think it's very important for young entrepreneurs out there or young students in general to actually know what is hardship funding and how can one get hardship funding. Some of you might be wondering why this topic on a platform that speaks about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship funding and incorporates it with social issues. But the main reason is because the heart of why students are at the universities are to get their degrees. Of course, we do have entrepreneurship seminars and we do have entrepreneurship funding systems that are in place to develop our students to not just exit the university with just a degree, but also with entrepreneurship skills that will enable them to actually create jobs for other graduates from other places, those that are not well informed or well skilled or well versed in entrepreneurship. That is the main reason why we're having this conversation, because as much as yes, they are engaging in entrepreneurship with staff at the university, they are mainly there to study and get degrees as students. But then what happens when finances get in the way of that happening? You often find that students are financially excluded at the beginning of the year. They have no means whatsoever of securing the 50% to pay their outstanding debt before they could register, before they register. That is why we have this squama or this funding called hardship funding. It is a funding under the SRC. I don't know more details about it. I'm not gonna lie and say who's responsible for putting the money there, but there is money that is kept, millions of rands that are kept for students. So how does one get their hands on this money? Firstly, you have to be a VT. So yay. So you firstly have to be a VT. You have to have an outstanding fee. Obviously, outstanding fees, no matter what amount it is. However, so the university requires you to pay 50% at the beginning of the year. The university requires you to at least give them 50% of the money that you're owing them so that they can allow you to come back, because your debt will be accumulating the minute you register for the new academic year. So then what happens is the SRC opens the funding system, I think around December, and then still goes in January, that students who with outstanding debts can apply, because you are owing the university, you couldn't secure a sponsor, or someone died who was paying for you and now you don't have anyone to pay for that previous debt. So this is then what happens. You apply to the SRC via the self-service through the self-service portal. You apply for the funding and then you get the funding. But then there's a big question: how much funding can you get? Because I mean, some of you are owing like 360 something thousand rands, and I don't know how you accumulated that, but we're not here for that. But yeah, you find yourself that you're owing a lot of money to the university. So what the hardship fund gives you, it gives you a maximum of 50,000 rand. Because mind you, they have to also secure funding they also have to pay for a lot of students. So they can't just give you all the money that you need or 50% of what you're owing. So the maximum they can give you is 50,000 rand, even though they say they could pay for 50% of what you're owing. So if you're owing 134,000 rands, like what I was owing at the beginning of the year, they were like, sorry, Shem, so near 50,000, and that's that. So that was what happened. Okay, so I'm talking about this because it is something that affected me, and they were able to help me in this with this and sort out like that. But then obviously there was still an outstanding fee, that the difference that we needed to settle, because I was owing about 134,000 rand and I need to pay 50% of that, which of course, if you know, you have a calculator in your hand, you can see that I had to pay around 70 something thousand rands. So obviously I couldn't register because there was still the difference to settle. Then then I had to work it out and find it myself. However, they had met me more than just halfway, you know. So what then happens is, if you're like a student and you're owing 20,000 rands, then they pay you like 10,000 rands and you're able to register. And if you're owing 100,000 rand, then they give you 50,000 rand. That's like 50% of what you need. But if half of what you're owing is more than 50%, if it's 50,000 rands, then they cannot give you more than that. During this year, the SOC created another funding system that was called 30 something. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about hardship fund. So the hardship fund, that system that I have explained, is the one where they pay 50% of your outstanding debt so that you're able to register and come back to the university. Fine, you have registered, you're back at the university. Where are you going to stay without money to pay for accommodation? Here comes the second part of what hardship funding does. So they have two parts. Hardship funding has two parts. It has the one part is an application to pay for 50% of the debt that you're owing. And the second part is to pay for your accommodation. It pays for full accommodation. So that one is a bit tricky because you don't get to choose your own accommodation. They give you the accommodation because they've already paid the accommodation themselves. So yeah, that's what happens. Okay, the second one, the one that has to do with accommodation, other students have had should I say, the privilege of staying at some point, and they were sharing. But then I wouldn't call it a privilege, because in my year, which is this year, I got a single room under hardship, which is like cool, right? Because I mean, some of you are out there paying more for like a sharing room. But anyway, if you have NSFAS, you cannot get hardship funding. If you have any other sponsor, you cannot get hardship funding, because I've come across some people are like, how can I get the funding that you're under? Because I don't like staying in like a sharing room. The residences prices are expensive. I would like to have a single room like yourself and stay off campus. And I tell them, no, you cannot. Because why? You're not under hardship because you're not going through a hard time, the hardship times that I am going through, because I have no funding whatsoever. Hardship does not give you food. It does not pay for your food, because now, fine, you have managed to register, you have managed to secure accommodation, but the stomach needs to eat, because you cannot live without eating. I mean, other people can, but I'm not one of those, so I definitely would need an allowance once in a while. In fact, even now, every week. Love money. Anyway, I still collab. I still collab. What I wanted to say is, then there's a question of what you're gonna do, because now you don't have food. The school has put in place a system called WCCO, where you can go and get groceries each and every single month. You get them once a month, and you have to go with your student card to collect them. They don't even ask you whether you're going through a hard time or what. So whenever you feel like I'm going through a hard time, you go there. They give you rice. It's speckle. So yeah, they give you speckle, they give you macaroni, they give you tin stuff, and so the tin stuff you can use it for relish, and obviously your rice and your macaroni, and they give you maize meal sometimes. And if you're lucky, you even get peanut butter. Look at that! Isn't that just luck? Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say life at university can be really hard, but there are systems put in place to try and make it a little bit easier on, yeah, well, for you, because we understand that sometimes university can be a very scary and shocking place for like first comers, obviously as first years, and you find yourself unable to balance everything, or unable to settle in very well, and you find that you fail more than 50% of your courses, that then resulting in NSFAS saying goodbye to you, and then you have no funding, because it's very hard to get a bursary, especially if you're in the humanities faculty, because wow, the rejection letters I've been getting. Let's not talk about that. That's very sad. But anyway, that's that. So that's the video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. I know this is very important information, because in 6 months time, let's just say in 5 months time, you will be wanting information about how to get hardship funding, how to apply for it, who to talk to. So if you or your friend need more information about what hardship funding is, how you can get hardship funding, there is information about all those things under our school website, and then you know that Wits cares for you, and it wants you to actually succeed. Always know that as much as things may get difficult at the University of Witwatersrand is not going to leave you down and leave you to just be excluded and go home. They're going to try, and the SRC is going to try its utmost best to be there for you and to help you get this degree. Just for good. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and come back next Saturday for another video. Bye.